Hello, this is my media literacy vlog for week 4. Today we are talking about social networks, and I went through the chapter and wrote down a few things that kind of stood out to me and things that I would love to talk about today. And yeah, so the first thing that stood out to me in this chapter was, first of all, talking about social media. Personally, I'm super intrigued by social media and how it works. I think that's what I want to do in my future, and I'm really just intrigued by it. So the first thing that stood out to me was a quote, and it says, power people have to, the power people have how to make now to make a difference with social media more than now than ever before," which is so crazy because it's so true. Social media has grown so much over time and continues to grow every single day that the amount of people that you can reach simply by clicking a button is way greater than you will ever meet by just word of mouth, which is crazy, like talking about media and stuff. Pressing the like button to feel engaged, and then the whole thing of slacktivist versus activist sort of thing, which is honestly, I wouldn't necessarily, after reading through it, I wouldn't necessarily call it slacktivist because now it's different than what it was back then, whereas activist, you're actively doing something, whereas now you're still being an activist, you're just doing it through social media, which doesn't necessarily mean slacktivist or slacking. It just means that we have access to way more things than we did back then. Which again, simply by clicking the share button, you're already making a difference by reaching out to so many more people, and that's exactly how social media works. But yeah, that's was kind of intriguing me, the idea of the slacker versus the activist, because now that's how you used to look at it, but now, and it may look like that, like just by clicking a button because you're not actively doing anything, but again, just by doing that or clicking that button, you've already reached so many more people than you would have just by word of mouth. So you're kind of like merging the two together, if that makes any sense, because that's how people use their voice now and are activists and use activism is through social media, which is the main platform for sharing everything. A quote from Malcolm Gladwell in the New Yorker. He said that the evangelists of social media seem to think that a Facebook friend is the same as a real friend, which again is just going back to the whole thing of like realistic or reality versus like virtual. Because it's true, especially with like dating apps and like Tinder and stuff, you don't really know these people, and you can say that you can talk over media. People only show you what they want to show you. You have no idea what's going on in anybody's personal lives. You only see what certain people want to show you, which is how kind of media plays into it, because the media can show you whatever they want and you can believe it because they're only showing you what they want you to see. They're gatekeeping so many more things, or the real story, or parody news, as we talked about last week, to push it out into the world and show show the people what they want to see. The complications of social media was like the last kind of thing that we talked about. The mainstream press has come to depend on social media as reporting news sources, which means that like when you go to something for news, you're automatically, instead of like looking at the newspaper or Googling an article even, you're going straight to social media to see what people are saying about it. Seeing what hashtags are trending on Twitter, or seeing what's relevant on Facebook now today, rather than opening a magazine or opening a newspaper to see like what is going on in today's world, which again is crazy and kind of ties into the whole parody news thing, because social media can get very twisted and very fake very fast. And now I think that especially Facebook has been better at flagging like false information, which is good for media purposes and for factual purposes. But anyways, all of this stuff is just really intriguing to me, and I have so many more ideas about it. But yeah, social media is really, really cool, and the transition from print media to social media to news outlets is again very fascinating, and I really am excited to learn more about social media and how it ties into everything else. So that was my vlog for the week, and yeah, I'll see you next week.